Welcome to Laser Focused Conversation. My name is Christopher Rice, and I'll be hosting Dr. Arvind Raman, Director of the Laser Pulse Program and Executive Associate Dean for the College of Engineering at Purdue University. Dr. Raman has co-authored over 140 peer-reviewed journal articles, held visiting positions at universities in Spain, the UK, and Germany, and secured funding from the NSF, NIH, NASA, and NNSA. He is an American Society of Mechanical Engineers Fellow, College of Engineering Outstanding Young Investigator Awardee, and NSF Career Awardee. Today, Dr. Raman will be speaking with us about the importance of research translation in international development. Arvind, thanks so much for joining us on Zoom today.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for taking the time to do this. One of the things that has happened as a consequence of the pandemic is that the number of people on this planet that suffer from extreme food insecurity has significantly increased. The United Nations estimates that number has gone up substantially, both as a percentage of the global population, which has increased in the last 2 years, but also in percentage and in absolute numbers. In other words, the pandemic alone has added, some estimates suggest 150 million people to the ranks of those who are subject to extreme food insecurity. The numbers are similar for those in extreme poverty. At the same time, we see the stock market has been doing amazingly. So as a consequence of the pandemic has really increased inequities and pushed back significantly the original goals of the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations to eradicate extreme poverty by 2030. So in this setting, and in the middle of massive concerns about global health inequities, in addition to massive increase of food insecurity, massive increase of extreme poverty, and now global health, the challenges that were put forward in the Millennium Development Goals have become much more difficult. Right? The problem has become much harder. How are we going to be doing this? And at the same time, it is very clear that the amount of funding that's available to deal with these things is, all evidence suggests that there is not going to be a material difference or change in the amount of funding that's provided for programming that deals with these massive inequities. And so how are we going to go about, we're faced with a situation in development where the task has increased, the burden of doing this has increased substantially, and the resources available are not going to be around really, are not going to increase proportionally. Now, I personally think the solution to this is just to be a lot more smarter about what we do, so we can be much more effective in development, in terms of resources used. And that's why, I'm particularly excited about, research for development and, what it means and how to do it well, and how it can be done well. I truly believe it can be a force multiplier for resources that allows us to accomplish these increasingly difficult goals with similar resources. So I think of it as a, significant force multiplier. Now, what that means is research can, generally provide evidence, to development practice. But the bigger question about it is, we can explore the underlying hypothesis in my statement, which is, why is it that research is going to improve development? How do we know this? The answer, I think, is that fundamentally humans have blind spots. Whether it's a practitioner who's implementing development programs and is convinced based on their experience that the real source of the issue is this prevalent issue or challenge or culture, whether it's policy, education, etc. Or it is a researcher who thinks, well, a practitioner certainly needs to know X, Y, and Z, in terms of, to be able to implement certain work. And you can just look at it and know that probably everyone's got blind spots in terms of, and the blind spots persist right from, in my opinion, right from, when a practitioner or when a researcher thinks that, this is the question that we need to address. And everyone has a sense of what question really needs to be addressed. And there are blind spots. Everybody has blind spots, and there are blind spots in determining that. And let's say it is determined properly, and let's say there is a very important role for evidence-based, data-driven insight into being effective with the development outcome. And if we do figure out the right question, how do we make sure that research and practice go hand in hand, in an effective way? So both what question to address and how researchers and practitioners together address those questions in order to have really good development outcomes are what LASER tries to focus on.
Yeah, Arvind, can we let's talk about how Laser Pulse can support this work in research for development in the context of everything that you've outlined. What's Laser Pulse doing to to address all these challenges and these blind spots that you've referenced?
Yeah, that's a good question, Chris. So in the first place, we've developed, with the help of one of our colleague, Joe Sinfield's group that uses innovation science approaches, we've adapted that, and we call it systems level analysis that allows researchers, practitioners to think with a much bigger lens about the development outcome they're seeking, so that they don't jump to conclusions about what the problem is. As I said many times, people are not necessarily working on the most important problem. They think they are, but they may not be. And so it's always interesting, and those are blind spots. And one way to do this is a systems level lens, which involves multiple stakeholders and a different way of thinking, a framework of thinking that then can deal with these blind spots, and people can look more holistically. They're not missing out on key things, and they're likely to make better decisions about what is the problem to focus on. So that's in that front. We have training. We have training modules on the Laser Pulse website, and we have materials that can help teams, researcher practitioner teams, think through this carefully with respect to their programs. On the other hand, once researchers and practitioners team up and they begin a journey together, then we have a very thoughtful and intentional framework we call embedded research translation. And we offer a variety of tools to help researcher practitioners to be intentional about how they partner, both in terms of, the timing of the partnership right from the get-go, to thinking through what elements of the partnership, whether it's process, communication, partnership. There are many pillars that they need to think through, all the way to how the research is going to be communicated in a way to get the desired change. So we have many different tools we have really developed for research and practitioners, trainings, online trainings that are available that I truly believe help get rid of these blind spots in these kind of engagements.
Fantastic. So, Arvind, when we talk about support for being able to do these sorts of things, I mean, we of course have research projects in and around laser with various funding types that laser can provide. For those who are watching this and are interested in what we're talking about in terms of research for development and addressing these systems level challenges, what can they do to join in on our mission moving forward?
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, Chris. I would say, the first place to be involved is to get registered on laserpulse.org. Once you are a part of the membership list, you certainly have access to all the other members. You can determine who the different members are. So it's a great source for finding partners, whether it's researchers or practitioners. You can search by USAID partner country of interest. You can search by technical sectors that people are working in. So it's really a nice searchable database that allows you to across that whole the sector geographical focus area find partners. There are many funding opportunities we bring to the table to everyone in the network. We also have all these tools that I spoke with you about that are also available to anyone who's registered on the network. And then looking forward, we will be providing more venues for members to be able to share their stories, their best practices with the rest of the network. So really hope in the near future to make this much more of a active, vibrant marketplace, if you will, for researchers and practitioners to be sharing their best experiences for better development outcomes.
Arvind, thank you so much for the enlightening overview of Laser Pulse, of research for development, and really the mission behind why we're doing what we're doing. So I want to say thank you for coming in. It's been a pleasure having you. If you'd like to close, Arvind.
No, thank you. Thank you so much, Chris. I just hope, again, echoing your sentiment, that those who get to watch this video, take a moment to think about, if they're a researcher, how would you engage with the practitioner? If you're a practitioner, think again about working with researchers. It really can be a win-win proposition if done intentionally and in a planned way.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Arvind, and thank you to our Laser Pulse Network members for watching. Stay tuned for additional interviews and opportunities to get involved with Laser Pulse moving forward.
Thanks, Chris.